Hello, greetings from Florida. Today we're doing pigeon pose, also known as Eka Pada Rajakapotasana. It's a great hip opener and can be challenging, but yet very opening for the hips and relaxing on the torso. Moving from this base of our spine around the sacrum and the pelvis, and allowing extension through the spine and down through the legs. So we're going to start out on all fours. We have a couple of different ways to show you how to approach this pose, but we're going to start out on all fours. We're first going to begin to just slide the right knee forward towards the right hand, and then just gradually let the left leg begin to reach back. As the leg reaches back, the hips start to move down towards the floor, and then the right foot can move over towards the left leg, the left hip. And for most of the time, this is a great way for beginners to be, and this is the easiest, having the foot closest to the hip. Now, we're going to start out by gradually allowing the chest to come down, the belly and the chest to come down. We creepy crawl the fingers out in front of us, gradually lowering the belly. And as you do, let the back leg begin to extend a little bit more. As the left leg extends further back, it helps to pull or reach that left buttocks more down to the ground, so that the hips stay even. A lot of times in this posture, people will drift off over onto that bent knee hip, and the buttocks will be on the floor while the opposite leg is up. So we want to try to keep the hips as parallel as possible. There's an internal rotation going on the back leg, which means that the left inner thigh is lifting up, and then the right outer hip is rolling down and back. Beautiful. And then to increase this, well, why don't we show some of the props with this here. So if you have trouble with getting the hips down, which as you can see she doesn't, you can walk the hands back towards your chest, take a blanket or a block and place it underneath that bent knee hip. And then that helps to lift that hip up so that the opposite hips begins to roll forward. Good. So this time she's going to stay up, arms extended, fingertips pressing into the ground, and moving from the tailbone, moving down, tucking down between the legs, and the navel center zippering up to lift the chest. Beautiful. And as you see, her foot, her bent knee foot, has come out a little bit further, more at a right degree angle from the knee and from the hip. And this is a little bit more challenging, but a place for you to go if you choose to continue to open the hips and continuing to practice this pose, on a weekly basis. It's great for the hips, moving that ball joint of the thigh bone in that socket. Excellent. And then to come out of this pose, we can place the hands out in front. This is kind of fun. Curl the toes under on the back leg. Let the bent knee foot draw up towards the belly. My teacher used to call it a kangaroo pouch. So as you lift up through the navel, press back into the back leg to lift up into downward dog, but keep that bent knee drawn in towards the chest. Take a moment to extend that leg back into a three-legged dog. Just let it stretch out for a moment. And then you can lower that leg down, extend the left leg up, and reach nice and high, pulling the belly up. She's bending and flexing, getting that leg and hip ready. And then that foot or that knee will come forward to the outside of the left hand. And then that way the foot can come up again out to the angle that works best for you, whether in close by the groin or extended out. Now the beauty of this practice was to be able to roll that shin bone a little bit more flat to where that foot came flat onto the ground with the heel reaching up. So that if you choose to bend forward again, the heel would come into the abdominals, the lower belly, and then this way it would allow you to experience Uddiyana Bandh, the navel lock, so that the heel would come onto the belly. We'd have to lift the navel center up, and also the heel would massage the internal organs of the bowel, and that was one of the health benefits of this posture. Now, it's not really all that comfortable, but once those muscles begin to relax and feel the massaging action, then the bowel and the intestines begin to work in a different manner, a gentle way of massaging them. And then you can explore with walking the hands back up again, creating your back bend. Good. So even here, as you bring the pelvis or that right leg, which is extended back, that heel would come into the inner groin of the right leg. And then that would also massage that psoas muscle that connects right there on the inner thigh, the inner groin, allowing it to lift up and get a deeper extension into that back leg, releasing that attachment. And then because that psoas muscle attaches to the rib cage, you could bring yourselves up and experience a delightful back bend. Beautiful. She's going to use some blocks to lift the chest. And the legs become the anchor here. So if you press into the shin bones, and you can begin to enact Mula Bandh, the floor of the perineum lightly drawing up, the pressing down of the legs, and this gives rise to the chest to create that strengthening of the spine and the torso. The hands can gently rest onto the knee or the foot beside the body. This pose can progress to the arms overhead. There you go. You can even begin to play with bending the knee of the back foot. You could stretch out that quad a little bit. These are just some playful attachments to this pose. Beautiful. And then, yeah, slight back bend there. She's just kind of playing around to show you different things that you could do. Wiggling. Please feel free to wiggle and explore the pelvis in this pose so that it's not a lockdown. It's more of an undulation, as I mentioned, energy moving down into the legs and up into the spine. Beautiful. And then you can end once again with the hands out in front. Reach back, curl the toes under on the back leg, and then you'll begin to lift up into your downward dog, pulling that bent knee up into the belly to reach up, pull back, extended three-legged dog. Take some deep breaths. Yeah. And gently lower down. Good. Namaste.